winter of 1957. I was by Yechidus by the Rebbe. I was about 23 at the time, and the Rebbe on his own tells me, after we discussed what we discussed, he said to me that he's going to put me on the list. He meant the list of Bachrim Shehigiu Le'enes HaSheduchim. I didn't ask for it, but that's what he said. And I just listened to what he said. But as precious and prescient as the Rebbe was, he seemed to be onto something. Within the next few months, there were inquiries from my parents and from the Rosh Hashivas about my availability for young ladies, children. And I didn't pay any heed. I just after 2 or 3 months, I had, I think, 4 or 5 names of proposals, and I didn't know who they were. And I decided, if the Rebbe said he's putting me on the list, I'll ask him. He should be a maven in human nature. So I asked Rabbi Charukov for a chance to go into the Rebbe again. He said, "You were just there." I said, "It's okay. I have something important to ask about." He let me in. And I presented the list to the Rebbe, and he looked at me, looked at the zettel, and he says to me, "Was wegen Kazinitz?" My wife's last name was Kazinitz. It's a Kazinitz, Kazinitz. Her name is Dvora. I said, "I never saw her." He says, "It's doch Mesha's Schwester." She had an older brother. My in-laws had 2 children, a son and a daughter, a Ben Yochid and a Bas Yechidah. Mesha was about 3 or 4 years older than my wife. And it's strange because Mesha, that the Rebbe mentioned, was a chavrusa of mine. For many years, we learned certain things together, and I never knew that he had a sister. He never mentioned it. I didn't know. I didn't have to know. So the Rebbe says, "Doch Mesha's Schwester." So, it says in Chumash, Rashi says that by a shidduch you should check the brothers. So he had already checked the brother for me. So there wasn't much of a, it was very clear. And the one who intervened in the behalf of the Kasanitzes, I spoke to them, and we arranged a date to meet. It was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. That was already just before Shavuos, and since I went with the Rebbe every Erev Rosh Chodesh to the Yale, so I came back from the Yale, went to the dormitory, and I put on whatever I had, and I took the subway to Saratoga Avenue, that's in Bronzeville, and walked to the house. It's Herzl Street of all names, Herzl, and rang the bell, and the young lady came down and opened the door. And we went upstairs, we sat with the parents. I had no problem with that. And we had a very amiable discussion for 2 or 3 hours. And that was it. It was all over just by opening that door. And she was tested during the courtship before we were married. We had the wedding was set for 10 days before Rosh Hashanah, Chaf Elul. And we had set up, the parents had set up to have Tanoim. In those days, it wasn't just a L'chaim, it was a real Tanoim, with the shtar, Tanoim, and witnesses, Kabbalah's Kinyan. They were serious. And they set up the date for Sunday, Tetzvav Tammuz. That was about 6 weeks actually after we met. And the day came, and my parents came in from Boston, and other relatives from all over the northeastern United States, and so did her grandparents lived in Philadelphia. And what happened was, though, the Saturday night before that Sunday, the Rebbe made known that he was going to visit Gan Yisrael on that Sunday. If the Rebbe is going to Gan Yisrael, he's going by car. And I'm not going to miss it. But there was no time to do. Everybody was in town already. And, I thought we can get back 7, 8 o'clock. It's not the end of the world. So we took off for the Catskills. At that time there was no 17, the quick way as they call it today. It took a long time. It took about 4 hours. We left around 12 o'clock. We got there around 3:30, 4 o'clock. And the Rebbe washed. There was a Sudan, Kashal Bracha, and he said a Maimah. And when we were about to leave, Yankel Hecht, I mentioned before, who was the owner of the director of Camp Amunah, goes over to the Rebbe. He says the girls are going to be jealous that you came to the boys, not too far away from here. You got to come to visit the girls as well. And the Rebbe, in his kindness, said okay. So we went from Camp Ganyasol to Camp Amunah, and the Rebbe spoke to the girls there too. And we left Camp Amunah, and we came back to 770, 11:30 at night. Daven Ma'ariv. I took the Rebbe home. It was a little after 12 by then. And the Rebbe getting out of the car in the backyard, back door, says, weren't you supposed to write to Noam today? And I stood there. He was smiling and I had a semi-smile. And I said, yes. And he started pouring brachas. Some things I heard, some things that were inaudible to me. But it was quite an experience. And I left. That was the Rebbe's car. It was the Cadillac. Parked it in the garage, and I walked down the driveway. I see that Meisha Kazinitz is waiting for me, my future brother-in-law, with a car to take me to Bronzeville to the train that nobody was there. Came to the house. My parents were there, and her parents were there, and about 5 or 6 people. All had gone home, and I was told that some of the guests from the Kazinitz side were telling my kala that you still it's not finished. You don't have any time. You can reconsider. And she was standing there in all her glory, and she was proud of the fact that her chassan spent the day in service of the Rebbe. She couldn't care less. And I say that because this was the not a test, the precursor. I mean, not precursor of things to come throughout our lives. We always had other things to depend upon in terms of appointments and going places and things of that nature. And the Rebbe was in Saudi condition too, when the time came.